Hello everyone. We are back with another series of the Xplore Podcasts. My name is Kanishk De and I'm from the PGDM GM batch here at XLRI Jamshedpur. And it's my pleasure to bring you to this conversation to Fulcrum 6.0 2026, which is our flagship consulting conclave. Our theme this year is the changing role of AI in consulting. And through this conclave, we've been asking this very big question, is what is the bigger and the smaller value that is being added on the short-term and long-term basis with respect to consulting. And so today we are deep diving into the core industry titans' thought processes. We have with us today Mr. Sujith Jain, who is the MD of Digital AI Emerging Tech at Alvarez Marsal, where he advises clients on aligning tech strategy with business outcomes. With over 20 years of experience, he's worked across BFSI, real estate, manufacturing, and retail, and spent several years at IBM Consulting, leading customer experience and design before moving to Alvarez and Marsal. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
So I'll jump right to the first question. As we know, you are an engineer and you have ended up making very renowned path for yourself in consulting, especially in the field of digital transformation. Can you shed some light on your journey and what were the decisions that helped you build this profile?
I think it's a very interesting question. If you look at scenario in India, most of us, when we started, let me put it this way, when we started, we had only two options, from an education point of view, which we knew. Either you become an engineer or you become a doctor, right? Yeah. So naturally, the course took, I became an engineer. So during engineering also, I had absolutely no idea what kind of an engineer I would become. And if you look at my mark sheet, you will know the kind of engineer I would have become if I would have been an engineer. But I still persevered that and went in. And then I landed, my first job was not a engineering job. It has to be, it was a bit of a struggle for us to get to, the first landing job. It was predominantly coding. Coding had picked up quite dramatically in 2002, 2003. We used to learn Java was a luxury, C++ was there. OOPs were still the concept which we are learning, all of the concept we learned, and it was all books. Google was there, but not to that much. So we used to use books to read it. We read in the morning, we read in the night, and go back code in the afternoon, right? So that's how our life used to be, and we have written millions of lines of code. And every day doing the same thing, testing the same thing again, got us to an understanding of, why can't I explain the same thing to a person right in front of me? That got my attention of becoming a pre-sales guy. So I started demonstrating the product which I was designing, the product which I was building, the thought process which we were building, within the platform. And then that gotten into, the natural progression was sales. So I got into sales of selling technology. At that point of time, selling technology was not one of the area which people would think of. So I started selling technology. Post that, I think I have never looked back. So the technology happened, and when I was developing all this particular skill, and the foundation for all of this is keep learning. You were a developer, you became a pre-sales guy. From pre-sales, you moved up to a sales. You learned. I had no formal MBA education for me to get to an MBA, to a sales job. Then you land there, you learn, and then you move forward. This gave me an understanding, and I was working on a technology which was enterprise service bus. At that point of time, that was the biggest technology landscape you would ever get. The next extension, enterprise service bus is a system of engagement for you, right? Or system of records for you. The next evolution was, if this is a body, where is a brain? Brain was workflow. So I moved into a company which used to design business workflows. Got my knowledge in the business workflows, worked across multiple regions, multiple countries. And then, when the cusp was right, I told, now I have done all the backend technologies. Let me focus on the front-end technology. I moved after a decade of experience in technology in the backend. So I moved into the front end. Got an opportunity with Sapient Nitro. I joined, that was the largest independent agency in the world at that point of time. I joined there, absolutely no idea on design. Went in, I still remember the first meeting I went in when my fellow colleague was explaining about UX design, how a wireframe is created. I was Googling and trying to see, what is the design, right? So that was a part of learning. Led the entire program, the entire business for about 4.5 years. That's where the digital thing started off in that company. Then Moondraft Innovation Lab happens, and I set up the entire interactive experience for IBM. So we started with about 8 odd people. When we left, it was a pretty big business for IBM. So design, we had 7 or 8 service line within that. So that's a landscape view which we built in. So I was one of the guy who got an opportunity to move into a constantly emerging technology, which is at the front end. The whole idea is you need to understand what the business needs. You need to understand what's the client expectation, how the market behaviors are changing. I moved into digital when the digital was at the cusp. I picked up the knowledge of transformation, implementing certain core technologies. I moved into that. Now AI has been one of the revolutionary technology which has come in. So you learn, adopt, and move into it, right? I think if you're able to adopt, if you're able to learn, and if you're able to move forward, not taking the baggage. If I were to take the baggage of a software engineer, I wouldn't have become a consultant, right? Fast forward 20 years today, I talk about EBITDA, revenue, enhancement of that. Earlier, if you would have asked me, I wouldn't have cared what is the revenue of the company or etc. That's a shift you need to, kind of have. And I think it's all about learning and ensuring that you move forward from there.
Thank you so much, sir. That seems like a lot of learning for you, especially since you've worked across so many sectors, from banking, insurance, real estate, manufacturing, retail. That is a very wide range. Is there something common in how all these industries target digital transformation, or is it its own sector, its own animal?
I think if you look at digital transformation, as a terminology itself, right? What do you do there? There are 2 things which happens in a transformation. One, either you're digitizing the processes where your customers can engage with you, or you as a brand can engage with your customer. That's a digitization of that. Transformation is where you are ensuring that you as a company are reinventing yourself to adapt to market condition behavior of consumers, right? Put these 2 things together, that becomes your digital transformation, where you're also reinventing, where your brick and mortar is becoming more of an online. Today, you don't go to shop at a grocery store. You just, go ahead and sit and order online. And the way it comes to your house, and exactly 7 minutes, even you put something on the stove, the material has already come, right? So that's the, digital transformation in a nutshell is common across. But the systems are different. The engagements are different. Thought process of digitization and transformation, reinvention of yourself into a business landscape, that's the only thing which is common. The rest of the front end and the back end channel is completely different. The way they, behave are completely different.
Okay. It's just the outlook and the broader perspective.
Absolutely. The processes are very different. Imagine, you're in a hospital scenario, right?
Yeah.
You have some infection you have caught up. You want to go and consult a doctor. How would you go and consult a doctor? You would, the foundation thing right now, what would you do? You would go check on Google who is the best, internal medicine person who is available for me to go and check with. So you will check, you will identify the nearest location and the best doctor nearest location. And then the next, you will go and, see what's his qualification. Then you will go ahead and book his appointment. Once you book an appointment, your expectation is already there. If I booked an appointment 11 o'clock, I should be there at around 10:50 so that 11 o'clock I can make the appointment. So you will book an Uber accordingly, or you are taking your car, you will, time yourself accordingly. Right. You land, your expectation from the brand is 11 o'clock is exactly bang 11 o'clock. I want the appointment to be done. Once it is done, can I have my prescription on my mobile phone? I don't want to carry this one because I will lose this. And can I then, from there itself, can I order it online so that it gets delivered to my home? Why should I wait for, pharmacy in a queue? So this entire landscape is what has changed. Put the same thing from, your banking perspective. You want to take a loan. What would you do? Same thing. First, you will go search who is offering me the best loan, who is offering me the best interest. Then you will go and see, okay, should I go with a PSU bank or a private bank? Then you will compare that. Then somebody would have written an article why you should go with a PSU, or you would go consult your father. That's a physical element you will get into. And then you will go back and, talk to a bank saying that I want a loan. The expectation till here is the same. The processes in which the bank operates with you, they will come to you, they will, talk to you, engage with you. There are multiple documents. In the first scenario, the first part was the engagement is always common. The second part of process, the way the industry changes, that is different. In a banking scenario, if you were to take a loan, you need about close to around 19 to 20 different documents. When we started banking, 10 years back, I used to go with a bundle like this and, go in front of the manager, say, this is a bundle. Today, they come to you with an iPad or, some digital device where everything is digitized. Yeah. That's a landscape change which has happened, and that's an industry change. Industry by industry, there's a lot of nuances. NBFC, banking, they're already up in the curve from a transformation perspective because there are a lot of fintechs available for you to help you. If you want to run a process of identifying your credit score, CIBIL is there. Yeah. If you want to do a sign, there's an e-sign. You want to do, your other bureau checks. There are multiple in fintechs who are already giving you those services. You combine them, it becomes powerful. The rest of the industry are still gearing up to it. For example, in real estate, RERA is there. How many people are there who can help you to bind all the documents into one? There is an evolution which will also happen in that particular place. But every industry, there is a evolution cycle, and it will go through the same lens.
Recently I also went through a white paper published by Alvarez and Marsal that says that AI has been so successful. AI has been so successful in their adoption because it followed a bottom-up approach instead of a top-down approach. So already the employees were employing AI in their daily tasks. So when the new enterprise solutions that incorporate AI are entering into the market, they are AI ready already. So do you have any insights on that?
I think at A&M, we took a conscious decision, right? So if you look at way A&M works and our consulting works is we come from a pedigree of restructuring. For us, data remains a constant factor. Analysis, insights are very important for us, right? Our recommendation is based on the insights on the data which we have already got. So when you have a lot of data, what would you do? You would take a lot of time to synthesize that. So when you're synthesizing, naturally, there are manual errors which will bake in, right? Because end of the day, you're a human being. You will not be able to process so many things. So we started this culture of everything will pass through the lens of AI, at least to synthesize this before it comes to this one. That's a top-down approach we took. We didn't tell them to go ahead and, create an email format for me on AI. No. The answer to the question is we have got a lot of data within the company. Can you synthesize, come out with certain insights where we can make decision in the meeting room? That's the first approach which we took. That was a bottom-up. The manager who joins our company, our expectation is he will use the technology which are available, built within A&M, which has got a lot of data in it. He can synthesize the data, come out with insights, and then come have a meaningful conversation when you're in the meeting room. So this bottom-up approach has actually helped not only A&M, but also when you go and talk to a client, you're also suggesting the same thing. The change management is the biggest factor in this. If you're doing a top-down, the top leadership feels that, the bottom pyramid should take care, but the bottom pyramid feels that it's not necessary, right? That's where the friction starts. If you're doing bottom-up and you're recommending the same thing to your client and ensuring that whatever you're preaching and you're also doing It's in sync. I think that's a recipe for success for most of our clients.
Nice. So, what do you think would be the challenges in managing such adoption in a service business line, like such as yours?
I think adoption in our landscape is people. The biggest issue for everyone is you as a consultant when you join, because you've been taught in certain manner, and your thought process last 15, 20 years or 20, 22 years have been blended with certain thought process saying that point A, point B, point C, point D, then only the result will come. The new advent is not point A to B to C to D, right? You can move from point A to D.
Okay.
That shift can happen. And are you willing to make that shift? Is your behavior allowing you to make that shift?
Unlearning.
Learning is making unlearning and learning is a very important impedance in this entire process. If you're able to overcome that, and if you're able to challenge yourself saying that I will not go cyclic, I can move from one node to nth node, then I think it's easy. Biggest factor for any company in a change management is this: resistance within ourselves, and that resistance will follow through to the companies as well. That's what company is nothing but a bunch of people, right? So if you change, company changes.
For consulting, it's primarily the people who are the resources.
Absolutely. For us, that's a top dollar.
Okay. You also led the digital banking journey for a bank with over 130 million customers. What kind of particular challenges are there when you deal with systems of that case?
I think this was the first digital bank which was conceptualized in India. So we took almost like 8 to 9 months to conceptualize this particular product or service. Then it had to go to government for approval. All of that conversation happened, right? The first one was the concept itself was not tried and tested, right? This particular brand was a mother and a father brand, where my mother and father would probably relate to that particular bank, not me. I would not relate to that bank. The idea, the problem statement was to change the brand perception and be likable for me as well as for my son. How do I do it? Then it came in, the digital bank journey came in. In the digital bank, it was never imagined that you're not going to go to a bank for any transaction, right? So that seeding the thought product process itself took some time. And then when you seeded that thought, then we all agreed, then we started designing the journeys. There were a digital bank across the world. There were a digital bank in Europe, much more sophisticated than most of us at that point of time. But we cannot take all of that sophistication and bring it in India because our behaviors are very, very different. Yeah. Because we always want to go to a bank, talk to a manager, give that check. He will give you a coin, take that coin with a number edge on it and sit there, wait for your turn. That's a thought process you built in with. Yes. And when you're bringing digital bank, the UPI was still not there when we built the digital bank. Think in a fashion that you're not seeing the other person. I'm not seeing you. I'm transferring money to you. Okay. And the bank is only a notion in between both of us. You're taking the brand away from emotional quotient away is going off. Transactional element is coming in. Right. So there are a lot of challenges on that side because a brand which was built for 120 years thought that their logo is also that there is a key which will enter. The key was you. Yes. The human is a key, and that it opens up to a larger ecosystem. So that was the first one. Then came the technology. Technology built across the globe. We could have copied it, but nobody had a scale of 130 million. They had maximum 5 million, 6 million. So when we started building this, we were also not clear how do we sustain this 130, because the bank had not opened up their entire landscape for cloud. It was still an on-prem solution. If it's an on-prem solution, your probability to fail is higher. Right. Because you can't scale the moment you keep adding. So there are a lot of things which were taken into picture. One was technology, one was an emotion quotient. Can I build a brand like that? If I build a brand, can Gen Zs can get engaged with this particular brand? That's a thought process we went with. Finally, after 2.5 years, when we launched that platform, is when we realized that what we built was a revolutionary product for India and for Indians. Yes. And that required almost like 2,000 plus people working on that across. You talk about policy guys, you talk about bank guys, you talk about people who are going and getting in. Listen from RBI saying that this is what we are doing, this is an innovation we are trying to build. There is a technology team which you're trying to, build. There is, along with that, if you look at digital banking as a concept, you have got more than 90 to 100 components which sits inside that. Those components can be a software product or a, simple, UI itself. Those taking all of that. For us, practically, it was building like a rocket. Today's day and age, people feel, rocket is easy. For us, difficult. So for us at those days, building that application was like a rocket.
I also went through a paper that you had authored, a white paper on piloting AI, but most companies are piloting AI, but very few are actually scaling it. Can you shed some light on that topic?
So this is a very interesting one, right? So though it's a revolutionary technology, from our perspective, most of our clients, what they are doing at this point of time is either they are waiting for somebody to succeed, then they will jump in, because at this point of time, there is no enterprise solution which can call out that this is my success. And if you look at the ROI on the entire investment you're making, it's about 1.2 to 1.4 or 1.5 at max, right? For every dollar spent, you are getting $1.5. When? After probably 18 months or 19 months. If you look at the core technologies which were built, the moment it is implemented, your revenues start clocking or your cost saving happens, you are able to build some efficiency, productivity, all of that factor kicks in. With AI, that's a challenge. You're able to increase the productivity, but you're unable to get to an outcome which I want. Output is coming, outcome is not coming. Outcome is what I want to probably cut down my front force by 30% and reutilize them somewhere else. Outcome is where I want to increase the productivity, where an RM, which is a relationship manager processing 1.1 file a day, can I take it to 2 file a day? 2 file a month, sorry. If you do that, imagine if you're about 10 lakh rupees, per file, if you're in a affordable housing segment, and if you're increasing by another file, you're adding another 10 lakhs. So your overall revenue uplift will happen in multiples of crores and hundreds of crores, and your EBITDA margin will also move up. Same guy who was doing less now is able to do more. All of this are possibilities at this point of time. But industry in India are waiting that let somebody take that one. I'll wait. Or they will do the prototype. They will look at the cost benefit analysis. They will wait. Instead of me putting the AI solution, can I put 10 more bodies and get the job done? Industry is also seeing that, if this is a fast evolving solution, let me wait till the time it stabilizes. Then I will, bank on that particular piece. So these are some of the things which is happening in the industry. If you look at the stat says, 70% of prototypes which we are doing right now, only 3 or 4% gets into production. That's an unfortunate situation, but it's an evolution. I don't blame anybody in this, because when I started, CRM implementation or any of those implementation, it would take 6 months, but 7th month you're up and running. Here, and the cycle of upgrade was after 2 years, you would upgrade and, things like that, right? Here, your model 1 is now, the model 2 is in next 2 weeks, model 3, the upgraded version is the 4th week. You have got a completely new platform itself, which is an upgraded one. And these LLM platforms are also expecting you to migrate from the earlier version to the, newer version. So there are challenges. there are, guardrails around it, how you can manage them, but the industry is also taking time to adopt it. That's a reality too.
So we want a prediction. 5 years from now, what's the one thing that will be completely normal inside a company that would sound crazy to a board of directors today?
One thing which is going to be normal in a boardroom.
Yeah, 5 years from now, but today it's going to sound very crazy.
I think AI doing recommendation on my revenue, cost projection, saying that my EBITDA margin will grow by X percentage than the person sitting in front of the presentation. AI doing that, that's the craziest stuff I would recommend. So then, that's a life which I would want. I want to sit back and enjoy. The way it should happen is today the biggest issue, if you look at it, AI is recommending, somebody else is taking that and putting his decisioning on top of it.
Right.
And why is he doing it? Because he understands certain patterns which are happening. It can be geopolitical, it can be weather, it can be etc. etc. All of that is combining force which is coming from the external factors. In 5 years from today, I feel this data analysis combined with the prediction of the future will come together to an accuracy of around 95%. That's what is going to be crazy sitting in the boardroom. That's pretty much what I would want to see.
So, but would like the clients would be adopting that?
I think in next 5 years you will. If you are sitting in a car without a driver, I think in next 5 years people sitting in the boardroom will adopt to this.
Yeah, probably. Sujith, this has been a genuinely sharp conversation. From your own path out of engineering into a digital transformation, to the honest look at where AI pilots actually die versus scale, to the checks and balances that come with deploying autonomous agents inside a regulated industry like banking. The predictions you left with us and the advice on what to build that AI can't take from us is exactly the kind of perspective our students will carry with them long after this recording ends.
Thank you so much and all the very best.
On behalf of Xplore and everyone here at XLRI Jamshedpur, thank you so much, Mr. Sujith, for your time and candor today. It's a real privilege having with us today. And to everyone listening, thank you for tuning into this episode of Xplore. We'll see you again in the next one.